An elite teacher pushed Maid's daughter to solve a problem. The board froze in shock. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. In a prestigious private school, the air was thick with ambition and prestige. The sound of polished shoes echoed through the grand hallways, while the aroma of freshly brewed coffee lingered in the air, emanating from the teacher's lounge. The walls were adorned with accolades, framed awards, and academic triumphs that spoke of decades of excellence. This was a place where only the best could succeed, a sanctuary for the elite and their children. Among the sea of wealthy students, one girl stood out, not because of her beauty or social status, but because she didn't belong. Lily was the daughter of the school's janitor, a woman who worked tirelessly to keep the halls spotless while her daughter tried to blend into a world that often made her feel invisible. Lily was quiet, reserved, and kept to herself. She was used to the whispers, the judgment, and the knowing glances from her classmates. They saw her as nothing more than the help's daughter, someone not worthy of their attention. Little did they know, Lily had something far beyond what they could ever imagine. One day, as the class sat in the advanced mathematics lecture, the students were presented with a particularly challenging problem. It was one that had stumped the brightest students in the class. The teacher, Mr. Graves, a renowned mathematician, had always been known for his tough challenges and no-nonsense approach. His reputation as an elite educator preceded him. As he stood at the front of the class, he smiled, confident that today's problem would be a true test for his students. Today, we will solve something truly difficult, Mr. Graves announced, his voice dripping with authority. Only the brightest will get it. I dare you to solve it. The problem was complex, an equation that required advanced concepts that even many of the most gifted students struggled to understand. It was a problem meant to test the limits of their abilities, and Mr. Graves knew that only a handful of students might come close to cracking it. As he turned to write the equation on the board, his eyes casually scanned the room. That's when they landed on Lily. She was sitting in the back corner, her head down as she scribbled in her notebook. It was almost as if she were trying to disappear into the shadows. Mr. Graves smirked. He knew Lily's background and had always dismissed her as unremarkable. She wasn't one of the privileged students who would go on to great things. She wasn't supposed to stand out in his class. Lily, how about you give it a try? Mr. Graves said, his voice laced with a hint of sarcasm. The students in the room snickered. Some even whispered to each other, thinking it was a joke. But Lily, though nervous, didn't hesitate. She stood up, walked to the board, and stared at the equation for a long moment. There was a murmur in the room as everyone waited for her to falter. But Lily wasn't the type to give up easily. Slowly, she began to write. Her hand moved swiftly and decisively as she worked through the equation. She knew what the others didn't. There was a hidden pattern in the problem that no one had seen. She had the unique ability to recognize patterns that others overlooked. As she wrote the final step, the room fell silent. The students watched in awe as Lily solved the problem. Mr. Graves, who had once mocked her, stood frozen, his mouth agape. For the first time in his career, he had underestimated someone. Lily had just proven that brilliance could come from the most unexpected places. The classroom was silent. Every student, even the teacher, stared at Lily in disbelief. The once dismissed daughter of the school janitor had just solved a problem that no one in the class could. Mr. Graves, the elite teacher who had once mocked her, stood frozen, his face a mixture of surprise and disbelief. Lily quickly stepped away from the board, her heart racing. She wasn't used to being in the spotlight, but today, for the first time, she had proven that she was more than what people expected. As she returned to her seat, the murmur in the room grew louder. Some students looked at each other, unsure of what had just happened. Others, like Amber, the class president, looked embarrassed. I can't believe she actually did it, Amber whispered to her friend. I thought for sure she would fail. But Lily was too focused on the moment to care about the whispers. She had done it. She had solved the impossible equation. It was the first time in her life that she felt like she truly belonged somewhere. Mr. Graves cleared his throat, trying to regain his composure. His reputation as a teacher was on the line. He had always been the one who handed down challenges, who decided who could succeed and who would fail. But Lily had shattered that image in a single moment. "Well, that's impressive," Mr. Graves said, though his voice was still shaky. "You've proven us all wrong, Lily." The words felt strange coming from him. The power dynamics in the room had shifted. For the first time, the students saw Lily not as the help's daughter, but as someone who had the ability to change the course of the lesson. As the class continued, whispers filled the room, but Lily no longer felt like an outsider. She had done something no one had expected. Her classmates, the ones who had once mocked her, now regarded her with awe and respect. It was a small victory, but for Lily, it was monumental. She had proven her worth not by her social status, but by her mind, her determination, and her talent. The bell rang, signaling the end of the class. As the students packed up their things, Amber walked over to Lily. "I was wrong about you," Amber admitted. "You really are smart. I never gave you a chance before." Lily nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Thanks," she said softly. But she wasn't about to let this moment define her. She had a long way to go before she could prove herself in the world. As Lily walked out of the classroom, she felt different. She had always been the quiet girl, the one who stayed in the background, but now she knew that she had the power to change that. And it wasn't just about proving people wrong. It was about proving to herself that she could succeed in a world that had always made her feel invisible. That afternoon, as Lily walked through the hallways of the school, she could feel the eyes on her. Some students avoided her gaze, while others stared with a newfound respect. She didn't care. For the first time, she felt proud of herself, proud of what she had accomplished, and she knew that this was just the beginning. The following days at school were nothing like the ones Lily had known before. When she walked through the halls, the students who had once ignored her now greeted her with nods of respect. Whispers that had once been filled with mockery were now hushed, replaced by admiration. Lily wasn't used to this attention. She had always been the quiet one, the daughter of the janitor, who worked tirelessly to keep the school looking pristine. But now, she was seen in a different light. It wasn't just the students who noticed her. Mr. Graves, the teacher who had pushed her into that impossible challenge, watched her with a new sense of respect. He had been stunned when she solved the problem, but he wasn't the only one. Lily had shocked everyone, and the moment had changed the dynamics of the entire class. "Lily," Mr. Graves called out one day after class, his voice steady but carrying a note of surprise. She turned to face him. "You did something incredible the other day. Not just solving that problem, but the way you approached it. I've been teaching for years, but I've never seen anyone do what you did." Lily didn't know how to respond. She had never thought of herself as someone special. She had always been the one in the background, blending in with the walls. "Thank you, Mr. Graves," she said, her voice quiet but filled with gratitude. Mr. Graves looked at her with a thoughtful expression. "I'm going to recommend you for the school's advanced program. You're more than capable, and I believe you deserve a chance to be challenged." Lily's eyes widened. The advanced program was for the best of the best, the students who were at the top of their game. It was an opportunity most students only dreamed of. "Are you sure?" she asked, her voice almost a whisper. "I'm just the maid's daughter. I don't belong in that program." Mr. Graves smiled, a rare expression that made his face soften. "Lily, your background doesn't define your abilities. You've shown me that you're not just capable, you're extraordinary. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." His words lingered in the air as Lily walked out of the classroom that day. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. She had always been told that she would never amount to anything, that she would always be stuck in the shadows of those who had more. But now, for the first time, she saw a future where she wasn't defined by her circumstances. That evening, as she walked home, her mind raced with possibilities. She had always dreamed of something more, but she never thought it would actually happen. She had spent so many years being invisible, just trying to survive. But now, it seemed like the world was opening up to her in a way she had never imagined. The next day, Lily found herself in the principal's office. The headmaster, a tall, imposing man, looked at her over the top of his glasses. "Lily, I've heard quite a bit about you," he said, his voice firm but not unkind. "You've been recommended for the advanced program, and after reviewing your performance, I've decided to accept you." Lily's heart skipped a beat. She had made it. She wasn't just the help's daughter anymore. She was a student worthy of the highest honors. The principal smiled slightly. You've earned this, Lily. Don't waste it. As she left the office, a rush of emotions hit her. She had proven herself in a world that had always underestimated her. And now, she was ready to prove even more. The next few weeks were a whirlwind for Lily. She had officially entered the advanced program, a place where the brightest minds gathered to push the boundaries of their knowledge. The first day of the program was a shock to her. As she walked into the advanced classroom, she was met with curious stares from students who had never interacted with her before. They had heard of her, of the maid's daughter who had solved the impossible problem, but now, seeing her in person, they were unsure of what to expect. Lily's heart pounded in her chest. She wasn't used to being the center of attention. In this new world, she was still just a girl trying to find her place. As the teacher, Professor Reynolds, began the lesson, Lily found herself struggling to keep up. The material was challenging, even for the other students, who were used to excelling at everything they did. But for Lily, the pressure was even greater. She had something to prove, not just to the class, but to herself. The other students in the program, most of whom came from wealthy families, seemed so confident. They were used to being the best, and their arrogance was hard to miss. It was clear they didn't think much of Lily. A few of them whispered to each other, making comments about how she probably didn't belong there. But Lily refused to let their words affect her. She was here to learn, to grow, and to show them all that she belonged. Days turned into weeks, and Lily worked tirelessly. She stayed up late every night, studying the complex concepts that the other students seemed to grasp so easily. But she wasn't about to give up. She remembered Mr. Graves' words, "Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Lily pushed through the doubts, the exhaustion, and the pressure. She knew she had the potential to succeed. Then came the final exam. It was the moment Lily had been waiting for, the moment that would prove to everyone, especially herself, that she belonged in the advanced program. The exam was brutal. It was filled with questions that tested everything they had learned over the past few months. Lily sat at her desk, her hands shaking as she flipped through the pages. The questions seemed impossible. The clock ticked down, and the pressure mounted. But Lily took a deep breath and focused. She wasn't going to let the pressure get to her. She had done the work. She had earned this moment. As she moved through the exam, she began to feel a sense of calm. The problems that had once seemed impossible now felt manageable. She knew what to do. The answers came to her, one after the other, as if the work she had put in over the past few weeks had finally paid off. When the exam ended, Lily stood up, exhausted but proud. She had done it. She had faced the challenge and come out on top. The next day, as the results were announced, Lily was waiting anxiously. Her heart raced as Professor Reynolds read out the names of the top scorers. And the highest score goes to Lily, the daughter of the school's janitor. The room went silent. No one had expected it. The students who had once doubted her were now looking at her with wide eyes, a mix of shock and respect. Lily smiled to herself, feeling a sense of accomplishment she had never known before. She had proven them all wrong. She had shown that no matter where you come from, your potential is limitless. Lily's success in the advanced program was just the beginning. She had proven herself academically, but the real challenge was yet to come. As she continued to excel in her studies, the pressure to fit in with the other students grew. Despite the respect she had earned, the divide between her and her classmates, the children of the wealthy and powerful, was impossible to ignore. It wasn't just the academic challenges anymore. It was the world outside the classroom. The social hierarchy of the school was clear. There were the elite, those who had it all, money, connections, and power. And then there was Lily, the daughter of the janitor. The more she succeeded, the more the divide seemed to grow. One afternoon, as Lily walked through the school courtyard, she overheard a conversation that made her heart sink. "I still can't believe she's in the advanced program," a voice said, followed by a snicker. "She's just a maid's daughter. How did she even get in? It's probably a mistake." The voice was unmistakable. It was Amber, the class president, the one student who had once looked at Lily with disdain, but now, a part of her was starting to feel threatened. Lily's heart beat faster as she tried to ignore the conversation. She wasn't surprised, but hearing it out loud still stung. She knew she didn't belong in their world, not really. She had worked hard, fought for every inch of success she had, but in the end, would it ever be enough? Would she always be the outsider? That night, Lily couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, the weight of her thoughts pressing down on her. She had always been invisible. Her whole life had been about blending in and staying out of the way. But now that she was standing out, was she truly accepted? Or was she just being tolerated, a novelty for the elite students to gawk at? The next day at school, Lily found herself in the cafeteria, sitting alone at a table, when Amber approached her. "Lily," she said, her tone strangely calm. "Can we talk?" Lily looked up, confused. Amber had never approached her directly before, and she didn't know what to expect. "Sure," Lily said cautiously. Amber sat down across from her, her usual confident demeanor replaced by something more genuine. "I've been thinking," Amber began, "about how I treated you before. And honestly, I've been a little embarrassed. I thought you were just some random girl who didn't belong. But after seeing what you've done in the program, I've realized how wrong I was. You're smarter than any of us, Lily. And I'm sorry for how I treated you." Lily blinked in surprise. She wasn't sure how to respond. For years, she had been the one to apologize, to take the blame, to make herself smaller in the eyes of others. But now, Amber was apologizing to her. "Thank you," Lily said, her voice soft. "I appreciate that." Amber smiled slightly, her eyes sincere. "You deserve to be here, Lily. You've earned it." For the first time, Lily felt a shift in her own heart. She had spent so much time doubting herself, but here, in this moment, she realized something powerful. She was not the outsider. She was not the mistake. She was exactly where she was meant to be. Over the next few weeks, things slowly began to change. The whispers died down, replaced by hesitant but genuine respect. Lily continued to shine in her classes, but now, she didn't feel like she was walking alone. The students who had once dismissed her now looked to her for answers, for guidance. She wasn't just the girl who solved the impossible problem anymore. She was a force to be reckoned with, and slowly but surely, the school began to see her for who she truly was. A brilliant young woman who had earned her place among the elite. Lily's life had changed in ways she never imagined. As the weeks passed, she continued to excel in her studies, earning praise from both teachers and classmates. But with her success came new challenges. As the only student from a working-class background in the advanced program, Lily often found herself caught between two worlds, the world of privilege and the world she came from. Despite her achievements, the pressure to prove herself never seemed to let up. She was constantly trying to balance her academic life with her responsibilities at home, where her mother still worked long hours to support their small family. Lily often found herself staying up late, studying for exams while her mother cleaned the large houses in their wealthy neighborhood. But the more Lily achieved, the more she felt the weight of her responsibilities. One afternoon, Lily sat in the school courtyard, her eyes scanning the pages of a history book, when Amber walked over to her. Amber had become one of the few students who truly understood the struggles Lily faced. She had been there when Lily needed encouragement and had apologized for the way she had treated her in the past. "Lily," Amber said, sitting down beside her, "you've been amazing lately. I don't think anyone really understands how hard you're working to be here." Lily looked up from her book, surprised by Amber's sincerity. "It's not easy," she admitted. "I'm doing my best, but sometimes it feels like I'm balancing on the edge. I have so much to prove, and it's exhausting." Amber nodded, understanding the pressure Lily was under. "You don't have to do it alone, you know. We're all here for you, and we believe in you." Lily smiled faintly, grateful for Amber's support. "Thanks, Amber. I don't want to let anyone down." But as much as Lily appreciated Amber's words, a nagging voice in her head continued to tell her that she was an outsider. She wasn't from a wealthy family. She didn't have the same connections or opportunities as the other students. She had to work harder, prove more, and be better. That evening, Lily's mother, who had just finished a long shift at a local restaurant, sat down at the kitchen table, looking tired but content. "How was school today, honey?" she asked, her voice warm and caring. Lily hesitated for a moment before replying. "It was good. I'm doing well in the program." Her mother smiled, her eyes proud. "I'm so proud of you, Lily. You've worked so hard for this." Lily smiled back, but inside, she felt a mix of emotions. Her mother didn't know the full extent of the pressure she was under. She didn't know how much Lily felt the weight of being the only one in her class who didn't come from a wealthy family. "Thanks, Mom," Lily said softly. I hope. I'm making you proud." Her mother reached across the table and took Lily's hand. You are, sweetheart. You always have been. But remember, you don't have to carry everything on your own. You've earned everything you have. For the first time in a while, Lily allowed herself to relax. She realized that, despite the challenges she faced, she had come a long way. She had proven herself in the classroom, earned the respect of her peers, and had the support of the one person who mattered most, her mother. The next day, as Lily walked to school, she noticed something that caught her attention. A flyer was posted on the school bulletin board, advertising a prestigious scholarship program for students who excelled in academics and leadership. The scholarship was a full ride to a top university, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Lily stopped in front of the bulletin board, staring at the flyer. It was the chance of a lifetime, but she knew it wouldn't be easy. She would have to put everything she had into this scholarship, and she would have to fight harder than ever before. But she was ready. She had proven herself once, and now it was time to prove that she belonged in the world of success and opportunity. She took a deep breath, feeling more determined than ever. This was her chance to change the course of her life, and she wasn't going to let it slip away. Lily's determination to apply for the prestigious scholarship became her new focus. Every moment of free time was spent researching, preparing, and refining her application. She knew that this scholarship was the key to everything she had worked for, an opportunity that could change the trajectory of her life forever. Despite the overwhelming amount of work ahead of her, she felt a sense of purpose. This wasn't just about academic excellence. This was about proving to herself and to everyone who doubted her that she belonged in the same spaces as the children of the wealthy elite. As the deadline for the scholarship approached, Lily poured herself into every task, pushing aside the fatigue that had begun to settle in her bones. She knew her grades were solid, but what she needed now was something more, something that would set her apart from the other applicants. One evening, as she sat at her desk, staring at the scholarship essay prompt, she felt a wave of doubt wash over her. What made her different from the other students who had always had more resources, more opportunities, more support? What if she didn't stand a chance? She pushed the thought aside. She had spent her life proving people wrong. This was no different. As she began to write, the words flowed more easily than she had expected. She poured her heart into the essay, writing about her journey, about growing up with nothing, about the long hours her mother worked to provide for them, about the challenges she faced as the outsider in a world that seemed so distant from her own. She didn't have the luxury of being born into wealth, but she had something more, something that no amount of money could buy: resilience, determination, and an unshakable belief in herself. When the application was finally finished, Lily felt a sense of relief, but she knew the hardest part was still to come: the waiting. She submitted her application and hoped that, despite everything stacked against her, the scholarship committee would see the same potential in her that Mr. Graves had seen. Days turned into weeks, and Lily tried to focus on school, but the anticipation was nearly unbearable. She couldn't help but wonder if she had done enough, if the effort she had poured into the application would be enough to stand out. She told herself to stay focused, to trust the process, but the nagging feeling of uncertainty lingered. Then, one afternoon, as Lily was walking out of the library, her phone buzzed with a notification. It was an email from the scholarship committee. She stopped in her tracks, her heart racing. Her fingers trembled as she opened the email. The first few lines felt like a blur, but then she saw it. "We are pleased to inform you that you have been selected as one of the recipients of the prestigious scholarship." The words hit her like a wave. She read the email again, just to make sure it was real. And there it was, plain as day: she had won. Lily couldn't believe it. She felt a mix of shock, relief, and pure joy. She had done it. She had proven that no matter where she came from, she could achieve anything. As she stood in the hallway, clutching her phone, she couldn't help but think of her mother. She couldn't wait to share the news with her, to show her that all the sacrifices they had made had been worth it. She rushed home that afternoon, her heart still racing. When she walked through the door, her mother was in the kitchen, preparing dinner. "Mom," Lily called out, barely able to contain her excitement. "I got it. I got the scholarship." Her mother turned around, her eyes wide with surprise. "Lily, that's incredible. I'm so proud of you." The pride in her mother's voice was all Lily needed to hear. In that moment, she realized that all the hard work, all the doubt, and all the obstacles had led her here. She had proven herself, not just to the world, but to herself. And now, the future was wide open. She had taken the first step into a new chapter of her life, one that would be defined by the opportunities she had earned, not the circumstances she was born into. Lily's acceptance into the scholarship program marked the beginning of a new chapter in her life. She felt as though she had unlocked the door to a future she had only dreamed of. The first semester at the university was a whirlwind of new experiences, rigorous coursework, and unfamiliar faces. Despite her success, Lily often felt out of place among the students who came from wealthy families. They were used to living in a world of privilege, and their casual confidence contrasted sharply with her own self-doubt. But Lily knew she couldn't let that hold her back. Every day, she reminded herself of how far she had come, from the janitor's daughter to a scholarship recipient at a prestigious university. She had earned her place, and she wasn't about to let anyone make her feel otherwise. As the weeks passed, Lily settled into a routine. Her days were filled with lectures, study sessions, and late nights in the library. The pressure was intense, but she thrived under it. She had always been a hard worker, and now, she had the opportunity to prove just how much she was capable of. One evening, as she walked through the campus, she noticed a familiar face, a professor she had seen around, Professor Williams. He had been one of the first to recognize her potential during her high school years. "Lily," he called out, smiling warmly as she approached. "I've been hearing great things about you. How's everything going at the university?" Lily smiled, a little embarrassed by the praise. "It's going well, Professor. It's definitely a challenge, but I'm managing." "Good to hear," he said. "I always knew you had it in you. Don't forget, though, that it's not just about what you do in the classroom. It's about the impact you make outside of it, too." His words stuck with Lily. It was easy to get caught up in the work, in the grades, in the pressure to succeed. But Professor Williams reminded her that there was more to success than just academic achievement. As the semester progressed, Lily began to engage more with her peers. She joined clubs, attended events, and even began mentoring other students. The more she connected with others, the more she realized that the people she had once seen as untouchable were, in many ways, just like her. They had their own struggles, their own insecurities, and their own dreams. One afternoon, while mentoring a group of students in a study session, Lily overheard a conversation that stopped her in her tracks. "Have you heard about Lily?" one of the students asked. "She's the janitor's daughter, right?" The other student nodded. "Yeah, she's in the advanced program. It's crazy how far she's come." The words stung, but not in the way they once would have. This time, Lily didn't feel small or inferior. Instead, she felt proud of the person she had become. She had proven that her background didn't define her. She had worked hard, earned every opportunity, and now, she was living her dream. Later that evening, Lily sat down with her mother, as she often did after a long day. Her mother had always been her biggest supporter, even when Lily doubted herself. "Mom," Lily said, her voice filled with emotion, "I've been thinking about everything I've accomplished, and I just wanted to thank you. You've worked so hard for us, and I wouldn't be here without you." Her mother smiled, reaching out to hold Lily's hand. "You've always had it in you, Lily. You're the one who worked hard to get here. You're the one who made it happen." Lily nodded, feeling a sense of gratitude that overwhelmed her. She knew her journey wasn't over, but for the first time, she truly felt like she was in control of her future. The struggles she had faced, the doubts she had overcome, had all led her to this moment. She had earned her place in the world of academia, and she was ready to keep pushing forward. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but Lily was no longer afraid. She knew that she was capable of achieving anything she set her mind to. Lily stood at the edge of the campus one late afternoon, the sun setting in the distance, casting a golden glow over the trees and buildings. It had been a year since she had received the scholarship, a year since she stepped into this new world that had once seemed so far out of reach. In that time, she had learned more than she ever could have imagined. She had faced challenges that made her question everything, and yet, she had grown stronger with every step. The path to success had not been easy. There had been moments when she felt like giving up, when the weight of her responsibilities, the expectations, and the pressure seemed too much to bear. But Lily had never given up. She had learned to stand tall, to believe in herself when no one else did. And now, she was about to graduate, a testament to the hard work and perseverance that had carried her this far. As she looked around the campus, Memories flooded her mind. The late nights in the library, the long study sessions, the friendships she had built, and the moments of self-doubt that she had conquered. She had started as the outsider, the girl from the wrong side of the tracks, but now, she was ready to take her place among the best. Her mother had always told her that anything was possible if she worked hard enough, and now, Lily was proof of that. Her heart swelled with pride as she thought of the woman who had supported her every step of the way, who had worked tirelessly to give her the chance she needed. Her mother's sacrifices had not been in vain. Lily had taken every opportunity and turned it into something extraordinary. As the graduation ceremony approached, Lily found herself reflecting on how far she had come. She was about to walk across the stage, in front of a sea of students, professors, and family members, and receive her diploma. It was the culmination of everything she had worked for. It was the moment she had dreamed of for so long. But as much as this moment meant to her, it wasn't just about the diploma. It was about the journey, the struggles, the growth, the realization that she had earned every step of it. When she stood on that stage, she wouldn't just be representing herself. She would be representing every person who had ever been told they weren't enough, every person who had ever been overlooked or underestimated. She would be standing for all the dreamers, the hard workers, and the underdogs who had been told they couldn't make it, but who refused to quit. Her name was called, and she walked across the stage, her steps steady and confident. She had made it. When she reached the podium, she paused for a moment, taking in the sea of faces before her. The applause filled the air, but it wasn't the applause she cared about. It was the realization that this was just the beginning. As she accepted her diploma, she felt a wave of emotion wash over her. She had done it. She had proved herself. And now, the future was hers to shape. The world was full of possibilities, and Lily was ready to embrace them all. She had the education, the skills, and the confidence to face whatever came her way. As she walked off the stage, her eyes searched the crowd for the one person who had been with her from the start. Her mother was sitting in the front row, tears in her eyes, a proud smile on her face. Lily's heart swelled with gratitude. This moment wasn't just for her, it was for them both. The journey wasn't over, but it had been worth every struggle, every sacrifice. And now, Lily knew she was ready to take on the world. Inspiring millionaire stories often highlight the power of perseverance, hard work, and overcoming adversity. This story is no different, as it follows the incredible journey of a young girl who rises from humble beginnings to achieve academic excellence and ultimately secure a prestigious scholarship. She proves that no matter where you come from, your potential is limitless. Her determination and resilience lead her to face challenges head-on, even in the face of judgment from others. As she navigates her path to success, she defies expectations and inspires others to believe in their own abilities. In many millionaire stories, the key to success is not just talent, but the drive to keep pushing forward despite the odds. This story captures that essence, showing how every setback is a chance to come back stronger. Through her journey, she learns that true success is not measured by wealth, but by the strength of character and the ability to persevere. Like other millionaire stories, this one teaches us the value of self-belief, the importance of education, and the transformative power of hard work. Whether it's overcoming financial struggles, breaking free from societal expectations, or achieving academic excellence, the path to success is rarely easy. But as with many millionaire stories, the ultimate reward is worth every sacrifice made along the way.